The program is State Affairs. My guest is the author of the book, Adventures of a Guerrilla Journalist. Babafemi Ojudu, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
You have written a good book.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that.
Inspiring book.
Great.
I didn't know you were that funny.
Actually, I'm seen as a clown by my children.
Well, I kept laughing while reading the book.
While you were reading, interesting.
You ate Fela's cake.
Oh yes. I didn't know that I was taking in something that's different from cake. But I'll tell you that cake was the most delicious cake I've taken in my life. Fela called it a sponge cake. I'm an kitchen man. I'm used to what is it called? A plantain and all of that. Roasted jam, not cake. So when I traveled with Fela and he provided me with that cake, I just kept eating and enjoying myself until I landed in the hospital.
You landed in Fela's brother's hospital?
Hospital, yes, in Mushin, Olosha.
That's Beko?
Beko's hospital, yeah.
And when Beko asked you what you ate?
Yes, and I said I have not had anything over hours except that, yes, yesterday, going to Abuja and coming back, I had Fela's cake. You took Fela's cake? I said, yes. Okay. You have taken the hemp. And that was it, So I had to be in the hospital for 3 days, passing fluids into my body and all of that before I got stabilized.
You didn't have any admonition when you caught the first cake that it was something special?
Honestly, nothing. It was too delicious. It was good.
It was good.
It was good, yeah. And
but before eating...
Fela is master baker when it comes to coming to baking. He does. He baked his own cake at home, and he enjoys, having his cake, yeah.
Before eating that cake...
Yes.
You were a regular visitor to Fela's shrine.
Yes.
Where Fela entertained you with good music.
Yes.
Good yabbies.
Yes.
And smoked marijuana happily.
Yes.
And you became a passive smoker.
Passive smoker too, yeah. I never smoked in my life. But we were conspicuously placed at the shrine. There is a place for the VIP. All his friends in the media, in the diplomatic circle. When you come into the shrine, they place you on a bench close to where he had the photograph of his mother and Kwame Nkrumah, the former president of Ghana, and then of course a few other things. And that's where we used to sit, and he sit with us before going on stage, and blows what he calls his jumbo rap, big, huge one, like the arm, and he used to call it Obiaruku Special. There is a place in Delta State called Obiaruku. He feels that's where they grow the most potent and powerful Indian hemp.
What was it about Nkrumah that fascinated him?
Well, it's about a leader, an African, who understand the place of Africa in world politics and who was willing to affirm it. Nkrumah and his mother and other leaders of then fought for the independence of the different countries in Africa. And he read quite a lot about Nkrumah, about Egyptology, and about African medicine and African music, African history, and he believes that those are distinct from the Europeans and the American history, and that they should be affirmed to the rest of the world. So Nkrumah was on the forefront of championing what was African, yes. So and Fela, the unity of Africa.
So
yeah.
Fela was a deep reader.
He was a deep reader. When I was a student in Ife, he used to come regularly to come and lecture us. And come in, he would bring with him huge, big books that have run out of print, about how, Egypt, Africans were Egyptians and Egyptology, Egypt this, Egypt that. That's why he named this band Egyptated Band at that time. So we will listen attentively. He will lecture us during the day and perform, his music during the night. So
what really attracted you to him?
Honestly, it has to do with when I was growing up. By the time I was entering secondary school, there were just 2 record stores in Ado-Ekiti, in the whole of the town. Individuals having record playing system were not many in their homes. So after our dinner at 6, 7 p.m., we go in front of those stores, and then you entertain with Egbegule, Patewo, Fogo, Ebeni, Sisi, Nigo, Kon, all those music. We jump up with our baggy trousers, jumping up and dancing until we are tired at about 10 p.m. and go back and rest. So that was how I began to love him, and all kinds of stories about the mother that were told. And I come from a family where which was the first house in our town that had a roofing sheet, corrugated iron sheet, and a glass window. And that was when the mother visited. That was the house, she stayed when she was campaigning around Nigeria for the independence of the country. So my dad and my grandparents used to tell me that this was where Fela's mom stayed and that kind of thing. So, that further attracted me to him until I got to the university, explored the music fully, not just his own music, Peter Tosh, Bob Marley. I've been drawn to radical artists all my life.
So did that inspire some level of radicalism into you?
Honestly, then you pick up the papers, you read articles by Shola Oshobu, by Alawa Kabashorun, and so many people of that time, and I was taken in by what they say, the way they say it, and I was intended of forming my life, patterning my life after them, and that was it. Yeah.
I didn't realize how radical you are until I read this book.
Actually, I've shown that tendency for radicalism for being a rebel since my secondary school days. I told a story in that book. When I was in year 3, my school was going to play a football match, and the seniors said, "Well, we have to go and do juju, and we must all contribute money to do the juju in town." And I refused to pay. I said, "Look, you cannot win a match by juju. You have to practice. You have to, do your homework and all of that." They were not happy with me. A few days to the match, they came around 1 a.m. trying to look for those who have not paid, and I happened to be one of them. They asked me why I have not paid. I said, it's not because I don't have the money, but because I will never pay. Because I know that most of those guys who are on the team were either Igbo smokers or some layabouts who never go to the field to practice. So they brought me out, removed all my clothing, and beat the hell out of me. And I shook that off and went back to bed. And on the day of the match, I joined them to go to the town stadium. And we had barely 3 minutes on the pitch when the Christ School, which was our city rival, scored the first goal, second goal, third goal, fourth goal, fifth goal, sixth goal, seventh goal. So we managed to score 1. So and I said I was vindicated. So going back to school, they branched in the Babalawo's house and broke his window panes and everything. The man jumped out and ran. But I always do these things that put me in trouble, but I always end up being vindicated. A second incident I would like to tell you about was also in the same school. I didn't know where that came from, actually. We had some seniors, the moment they smoke their Indian hemp, they come looking for Gari to take. I think, I don't know what is in Indian hemp that gives them that kind of appetite. They will break your locker, take your Gari, your sugar, your milk, soak the Gari in a bucket, and, they eat as if, that was what was going to save their lives. So, that for me was injustice. So I then mobilized some of our friends. I said, look, I'll be told that Igbo they smoke, they used to plant somewhere around a brook on the campus, and I mobilized them. We went there, we uprooted all the Igbo there, buried them, and then came back. Somehow somebody went and informed them that I was the leader of the gang that did that. They came for me and beat the hell out of me. So those 2 incidents, growing up, told me that there must be something innate about rebellion, about radicalism in me.
And that's the reason you've gone to prison or jail.
Yes,
more than 15 times.
More than 15 times. Actually, when I was in university, an uncle of mine who is retired, and Professor Lomola, called me one day to his office and said, young man, I said, yes, I had a problem of what I published on campus, and I was trying to resolve that. And he said, look, I want to ask you a question. Do you know the goats? Those goats, black goats, yeah. You see the way they are walking around the street? I say, yes. And you know the lion. Have you been to the zoo in this school? I say, yes, I've been to the zoo. You can see that the lion is in a cage. I say, yes. I say, look, as you go ahead, you have to determine which one you want to be. Whether a lion that will come in the cage, or the goat that will be walking free on the street. So I left him. So I had to reflect on this when I was in detention. Okay, yes, I think I've opted to be a lion to be caged.
You wrote here,
yes,
that by nature,
yes,
I'm impervious to the voices that caution
yes,
against personal peril.
right.
When I undertake endeavors,
Right.
I believe to be just and beneficial to the majority.
Right. That's me. That's me. I never look for personal benefits. I never look at danger. And that exactly was the way my dad was. That's the way my grandmother was. It's like it's innate. It's in our DNA. And you want to serve your community, people will condemn you, they will abuse you. But the moment we decide that this is the right thing to be done. My dad fought so many battles in our town. This man cannot be king. This one has to be king. This one cannot be king because he was, one time a thief. My dad will fight, mobilize everybody to make sure that man does not become a king.
No wonder they called him Efon.
Yeah, he will fight. He's a fighter. This one cannot be Yaloja. This one is only this one. This one cannot be Chief Imam. So he got himself involved in all of that.
And you took after him.
Yes,
because you stated it clearly in the book.
Yes,
that
sure.
you got your courage.
I got my courage
from your dad.
Yes, it's so obvious.
Your dad was a Zikist.
He was a Zikist, yeah.
Your grandfather was an Awoist.
And grandmother was an Awoist.
How do you reconcile this?
Well, he was rebellious. Just the way I also rebelled against him when he went to MPN and I remained in UPN. And at the point we're almost not on speaking terms in the house. And my daughter also rebelled against me. My daughter is a Milokon. I'm not a Milokon. my daughter is working in the presidency now. I will not step in there for anything.
You're not a Milokon?
No, I'm not a Milokon.
Why did you decide not to be a Milokon?
Well, I just feel that having related closely with the principal of Milokon, and having worked in the National Assembly, at the presidency myself, looking at our society and the condition we are in, I just felt that maybe the philosophy of Milokon was not appropriate at this time. Yeah.
You didn't like the philosophy
of Milokon for this period, for this time, yes.
At the time Milokon emerged,
yes,
you were a special advisor in the presidency.
Yes.
And you operated from the office of the vice president.
Yes.
That is Yemi Osinbajo.
Yes.
And when the news was established,
yes,
the magazine that rattled
right,
the military
yes,
of that era,
right,
Yemi Osinbajo was part of the news. He was the secretary.
Yeah, he was a legal secretary, yeah.
Of the news.
Of the news, yes.
So that relationship has been way back.
Oh, sure, certainly. As far back as 1989.
So you supported Osinbajo to be president?
I did.
What informed that decision?
I was convinced because having seen him up close, the way he walked, his philosophy, his breadth of knowledge, and the kind of patriotic verve in him, I just think that he was the best person at that time to govern Nigeria that I've seen up close to be on the path of danger. Yeah.
So you were among those who persuaded him not to step down for anybody?
Well, I wouldn't say I persuaded him. We were all persuaded as a group. It was a group. It's not just an individual thing. Yeah. That look, if we can force our way through, that it will be good for this, and it will be good for this country. I'm telling you. For me, it's like losing Awolowo a second time.
That was what happened.
That's the way I saw it, because it was at that level. It was at the Awolowo level in terms of capacity, ability, dedication, commitment. I'm telling you, this country will have gone places with him. if he had had the opportunity. But it didn't happen. Again.
Will it happen?
Well, we have to continue to be positive, hopefully. I don't know whether you still want to go through that again. It was too excruciating, too demanding.
What made it excruciating?
We toured the whole of the 36 states 3 times. The man will stand up 4-5 hours addressing delegates and asking them to ask him questions of any kind. Without looking at anything, he will tell them, he will answer them, and then at the end of the day, he will stand up and take photographs individually with each and every delegate in 36 states of the country. Flying, sometimes we leave Sokoto at 2 a.m. to fly back to Abuja. By 8 a.m. we are back at the airport to fly to another state. So it was that, very strong, not eating, he sparsely eats, and then not resting. When we are scrambling for food somewhere, we just be looking at us. Just give him his black coffee, maybe with, 2 slices of bread sometime. Yeah, that's.
You said we missed the second coming of Awo.
Of Awo.
That's a big statement.
I can defend that anywhere. Here is a man, you cannot even write a speech for him. He's at an event, he has his iPad with him, right there observing what is happening and everything. He's working on his speech. And by the time he goes out there on the stage, God, you know that this man is well prepared. He's well read, he's well schooled, and in terms of ethics, man, it's first class. I remember when we got in, he called all of us. He said, "You are just a small percentage of Nigerians, among Nigerians who love to hold this your position. That should be enough of glory for you. So I do not want to hear you come here to do business. The moment I learn that you've gone into one deal or the other, look at me, you'll be sacked." And he drove all of us to the extreme in terms of hard work.
So why did Buhari not back him?
I think that will form the basis of my next book. It's a long story.
Can you give me some hints?
I think I'm sorry to say I think Buhari wasn't a visionary. Wasn't a visionary. Let me just leave it at that for now.
He wasn't a visionary.
Yeah.
You were a special advisor under that presidency.
Yes.
On political matters.
On political matters.
So why did you accept to be a special advisor?
Well, I was a very big admirer of Buhari because of what I saw in his first time, and because of also his attitude to wealth, Spartan lifestyle and everything, but coming up close to that place, I didn't see much of vision. It's not driven by vision. It's unfortunate I'm saying this, but we have to say it. But in terms of he's a patriot of Nigeria. He's a patriot, take it from me, and he's incorruptible, take it from me as well. His needs are few, take it from me. Yes, those are good qualities, but it's not enough. When you're a leader, you have to design a vision, and that's what make all of us celebrate Awo today. He was a visionary. He knew where Nigeria was, and he wanted to take Nigeria, and he designed the policy towards that. But it's a different matter with that man I loved and I respected. Yeah.
So you've gone. So you've seen him.
Yeah. Yes. That's it.
Osinbajo is a visionary.
Yes.
So how did Osinbajo feel? Or how did he feel working with somebody that wasn't a visionary?
Well, it's a combination. You could then ask me, how did Diagbon feel with somebody like Buhari? It's a partnership. What somebody does not have, you think that another person will add to it. So
I am just imagining
yes.
if Osinbajo became frustrated at some point.
Honestly, I wouldn't want to dwell on these things now. You'll be taken away from the book I'm currently writing. So I think I'll be back here one day to discuss this with you wholeheartedly, without holding back anything. It's one of the things I've seen that give me doubt if we are going to be able to lift this country up. Because again, are we ready, all of us? Why some people are pulling up, some are pulling down, and that kind of thing. And again, there are so many funny characters around power, selfish, self-centered, all this sees money and authority and influence and all those, things around power, like siren and convoys and traveling first class or business class. So, hey, look, let me just tell you this: whoever is going to run this country successfully and change Nigeria must not just be an individual. It must be one person working within a group of people who have the same vision as him. You cannot just be a president and have, a useless Inspector General of Police or a useless head of custom or immigration or, Chief Justice of Nigeria. Everybody must sign on, to your ideals and ideas and your vision. Just the way everyone around Awolowo signed on to a particular goal, a particular vision, and said, look, nobody dare move outside it. The moment you move outside it, you are pushed aside, never to be accepted again, and they move on until they achieve their goal.
Buhari didn't have that.
Oh, again, let's wait and see.
Did you expect that Osinbajo was going to lose the primary?
Yes.
You knew?
Yeah, I saw it coming. Again, let me tell you this. Because of the nature of the system we operated, or we are still operating, I kept saying at our meetings that all of the efforts we are making, traveling around, convincing people, meeting people, addressing delegates and all of that, I told myself and I told them at the meeting that it's only 40%. That 60% of it lies in Buhari's hand. Unless and until Buhari is able to mobilize people around him, the governors, his own aides, and around this project, So I used to refer to Buhari as the one-man majority.
And he never mobilized his team around the project.
Forget about that.
He didn't do that.
No.
Did he do that towards Tinubu?
No. Well, he didn't do that for Osinbajo. I think Tinubu outsmarted him.
Tinubu did?
Yeah, I think he outsmarted him.
He didn't support Tinubu?
I'm not sure he was a Tinubu's fan.
So what happened?
Again, it's a long story, which I would like to reserve for my book.
Your book.
It's going to be
I wish you could write the book now.
I will. I'm working on it. I'm serious.
So Tinubu outsmarted him?
Yes, he outsmarted him in so many different ways.
Can you give me some ways, some tips?
No, don't.
That I can take away.
If we go into it, it's going to dominate the entire interview we are going to have. It's going to. I'm talking of a book. You are talking of give you a hint. I wouldn't want to say what I cannot elaborate on, and which will make people misconstrue what I was saying. So that's why I said, let me first of all put it down before we can, so we can move to.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, please. May God give us a long life.
Some would think that you betrayed Tinubu.
Yeah, that's their cup of tea.
When the news started.
Yeah, some of them even said he was the one feeding me, that he was the one who made me, he was the one who did this, who did that. Look, Tinubu has always known that I'm an independent person.
So when you guys went to him to contribute to the founding of the news,
yes,
what was the deal?
Well, I never knew him until that moment. We got to know him through Chris Mama, a former journalist who was an aide to, who later became an aide to Atiku. So he was the one who introduced us, and he said he loved our stance against Babangida, against Abiola, asking us to go and apologize and that kind of that. Oh, he would love to invest in us. And like many other investors, he invested in us. And we became friends. We became allies. I mean, if anything comes up, he'll come in and seek my opinion. He will tell you that Femi will tell you straight. He will tell you the way it is. In fact, let me give you a little story. I think in year 2000, was it year 2002 or 2001? I went visiting him on January 1 with my two sons. One of them is a lawyer and the other a chartered accountant. And we just walked in there and he came down and one of the boys just shot his hand to shake him and said, is that the way you are going to greet me? I'm the governor of Lagos State. And the boy said, and so what? You want to knock my head on the ground because you are governor?
He said that to him?
He was 5, yes. I said, I'm a Babaini. That's his father's son. That kind of, just to tell you the way he perceives me. He knows that I'm not a katawala. I'm not somebody that koto to people. I will tell you if you are doing well. I will tell you if you are not doing well. I will tell you what you don't like to hear. I just put out a story in Leaders and Their Men, where when after he won, the security shows a sobriquet of what is it called now? Superman. For him, there's a code they use for leaders when they're guarding you. So when they're talking about you, others will not know they're talking about you. So they give you Superman. And I went to him and I said, no, you can't be a Superman. I said, there is a way it's going to affect your psyche when they begin to see you as Superman. I said, we have to choose something else, because only God is a Superman.
You told him that?
I told him that, how old was I then? And, and what did
he accept your advice?
Oh, yes. He said, okay, Femi, what do you want them to come? I said, let's speak Igbo. And he accepted.
Eagle.
So,
but now he's a lion.
Well, I don't know.
It's not a lion. If I have moved from the lion of Bodilum.
Let me give you another example.
Okay.
I don't know whether you want me to say it, but I think I will say it. For the sake of those who were calling me betrayer or that kind of, this guy just guys who have no sense of history. He called me one day and said I should come to Ikoyi, and I went to him. I said, congratulations to me. I said, what is that? He said he has been called by Yaradua to come and be his finance minister under the government of unity. I said, finance minister under Yaradua, you are AC or ACN, you want to go. Are you not a student of history in this country? Do you not see what happened to Bola Ige? I said, you are digging your political grave if you accept that kind of job. And as we were saying that, a colleague of us entered, Rauf Aregbesola, and I said, same thing to him. Aregbesola said, no, Femi is right. That's not a job to take. And that was how we killed the idea. A businessman came in to join us and said, Femi, Rauf, you guys are too radical. This thing will benefit all of us. I said, no, we are not looking for that kind of benefit. We are looking for this man's survivor. He's our leader. Our dream for him is bigger than going to be a minister in the Yaradua's government. 9 months down the line, they will arrest him and try him, and they will finish him off the way they did to Uncle Bola Ige.
So your dream for him at that time was what?
Yeah, it was, that we wanted a leader. We all came around him, supplying him with ideas, helping him with his vision and everything. And, I admire him for, accepting our advice in those days.
It seems both of you have come a long way.
We have. So we cannot. We cannot quarrel. It's not about quarrel. It's about at a point in time, our vision. Taking different routes. That's all. It's not a personal thing. I'm just coming in from Lagos. I went to attend the wedding of Bayo Onanuga's daughter. Bayo Onanuga is the chief media person to Tinubu now.
And that's your man.
And that's my man. I was best man at his wedding. So people were seeing and they were saying, we never knew you were going to be here. Yeah, thank you for coming. I said, what do you think? You think we were boxing each other?
Almost on every page it's here.
Yeah,
Bayo Onanuga.
Yeah, so it's not personal. Nothing about that is personal. For me, loyalty to friendship, it's on a lesser scale to loyalty to country. Whatever I have to do that will uplift 200 million Nigerians, that will make Nigeria respected in the Committee of Nations, that will make us live a good life, I can sacrifice my family for that. Of course, that was exactly what I did when I fought Abacha. I sacrificed my family. My wife, I was newly married, and I was running out of the country, coming back, going to jail, being arrested. My wife was all over the town. That is a sacrifice. My children were young. Again, why did I do that? I could have lived a much more comfortable life, going around collecting money from people, buying fine cars, going home to sleep after the day's job and that kind of. But no, I knew that I had to do something to rescue Nigeria from the military. That was why I went into all that I went to.
Is that battle over?
Well, such battles come in stages. We had the battle against the colonial masters, which again journalists championed, Then we had the battle for nation building in the early 60s, up until the time the military came, Then the military came, we had the battle to fight the military so that they could go back to the barrack and stop the kind of destruction they were unleashing on Nigeria. Now we have democracy. The challenge of democracy now is a challenge of development. We need to have journalists who can also fight that battle. People will look at the budget, analyze it thoroughly, and tell the world that this can work, this cannot work. What kind of economic option are we choosing that make people very poor today, that make people not being able to buy their medication, that make more people are getting homeless, more people are going hungry, people are giving birth to children, and their father and mother cannot afford baby formula. A good baby formula in the market now is about 30,000 naira, and the baby will eat it for 3 days. And if you put a man on 60,000 naira minimum wage, and that 60 naira is just barely enough to feed a baby for 6 days. So how realistic is that? Now coming here, living in Lagos, I had to buy fuel of 100,000, 110,000 naira to fill my car. 2 years ago, I'll fill that car with 16,000 naira. So for me now, $1 million naira is just equivalent to 100,000 naira now. So these problems have to be solved, and it's an agenda we have to put before journalists in Nigeria. You can't just look on and watch this happen without posing the challenge and just allow things to go the way they are going.
Femi Ojudu, the journalist.
Yes.
The radical journalist.
Right.
The journalist that could steal pictures for stories.
Yes.
You wrote a story here on page 125 of your book. This is the book you should read. If you have been reading and you have not read this book, then you've not read enough. Femi Ojudu's book, The Adventures of a Guerrilla Journalist, is a classic already. The stories here are fluid, exciting, inciting, inspiring, and funny. On page 125, he writes a story, News Gathering with Tinubu.
That experience, yeah.
That was in London.
Yeah, that was in London, yes.
You were looking for that sweet story. And Tinubu called you to come.
Yes.
Tell us more.
Well, I had a trip to America again. One of the few times I had to sneak out of Nigeria to escape assassination, and I would sneak out, then sneak in again. And this time I sneaked in for a respite in US, and then flew to try to come back to Nigeria, but I had a stopover in London, and I put a call through to Tinubu, who was on exile in London at that time. And it's good.
By this time, you were already chummy with him.
Oh, we were close. We were very close. I can tell you, we were very close. My family was close to his. We were all close, and his family was close to me too. So he said, no, come over. There is something important coming up. And,
who was paying the fare? Come over. Just come over. Who
paid?
Come
over from London to his house.
Okay.
Yeah,
but he wasn't living in London at the time.
He was on exile in London.
I thought he was in the US at some point.
No, he later moved, much later.
All right.
Himself, Enahoro, Akinyemi, Bolaji Akinyemi, a couple of others went, initially to UK.
Okay.
And he must have spent close to a year in UK before he moved over to London, to America. So he was there, and I went to his house, and he said, there's this Jewish lawyer who has promised him information on how Abacha was stealing our resources and those who were helping him to steal the resources. I was excited as a newsman, and we went there, we sat before the lawyer, and he kept reeling out, how Abacha was stealing, who was helping him, and the name constantly coming out of that was the Jaguri brothers. And I was so excited again, but I felt so bad, so agitated, because I couldn't write. I needed to take notes, and I kept trying to memorize whatever I could memorize. And, midway to the engagement, our brother excused himself to go to the bathroom and, came back. We continued discussing. So we spent...
Tinubu excused himself to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, after about 2 hours, the engagement came to an end, and we hailed a taxi to return to his house. And while there, I said, man, what you have taken me to listen to today is so super exclusive, world exclusive. But unfortunately, I will have to talk to you when we get home, so that if you remember some things that I didn't know, I will take them down quickly. Said, Femi, don't worry yourself. I had a tape recorder with me.
He had a tape recorder with him.
And at that time, I went to the bathroom. I went to change the side 1 to side 2. And you heard that I flushed the toilet so that the man will not know I was changing
the tape.
So I jumped up.
That's a typical Tinubu, right?
Yeah, it's a strategist. He's a strategist. He does what he has to do to get what he has to get. That's give that to him. I mean, I love to work with people like that. Honestly, who will always find a solution. And if you look at the stories in this book, every time I'm in trouble, within a split second, I always find solutions to that problem that saved my life. So that's the kind of person that inspires me to do that kind of thing. So we got home, we ate, and he was on the couch and slept off. I riffled through around him, and I took the tape, and I then woke him and I said, I'm leaving. It's okay, make sure you jam the door, and I left. So about 8 p.m., when I got to the hotel, I quickly changed my flight, to the following morning. I had to pay some penalties for that, I did. And he called me at 8 p.m. Femi, where are you? I'm in my hotel. I can't find that tape. I said, this with you. What are you doing with it? I said, I'm going home tomorrow. I've changed my flight. I'm going to, if you publish this, you are dead. I said, I'll publish it. Let them kill me. So I got back to Nigeria, played the tape to some of my staff, gave them assignment on what they should go and check and all of that. And we ran the story.
And it was a story...
It was a story that shook Abacha. The diplomatic community, American diplomats, British diplomats, French, they were calling me. They were asking me to give them more if I do have more, and I became like a star for doing so.
And Abacha marked you.
Abacha marked me until when I got the information that soldiers have been sent out to go and eliminate me, sharpshooters, and that I should leave the country. I got that information about 7 and 8 p.m. By 10 p.m., I was on my way out of Nigeria with a nylon bag.
With a nylon bag?
Yeah, containing an extra clothing, my toothbrush and toothpaste. Yeah.
And you went through the Nadeko route?
Yes, I went to Ota, took a ride to Ota, from Ota towards the border, came down at a filling station along that route, and then took a motorcycle in the night, and then we found my way in Cotonou. I slept on a bench at the motor park, till the following morning. I took another ride to Aflao. From Aflao, I crossed to Accra.
Because of journalism?
Yeah, in Accra, then I took off to America. Yes.
Journalism?
That was it, yeah. I was telling my colleague yesterday, Kunle Ajibade, that, Kunle, when I look back, I ask myself, what propelled us not to see those dangers? Can you imagine yourself in the bush, at 12 midnight on a motorcycle with somebody you do not know? Sometimes the motorcycle will not even have light. It will give you a torchlight to point at the road so that we will not go into the bush.
I've heard a lot about this Nadeko route.
Yes.
Can you tell me about it?
That's what I've told you.
Who were those giving you the direction? Who discovered the route?
It was one of our staff, Mr. Seidi Mulero.
A Beninois?
Well, do I say Beninois? It's an Ijesha man. Mulero is what they now turn to Mulero in French in Benin Republic. He was actually from Ijesha. Seidi Mulero from Okomulero. So we were looking for a journalist who could speak French that we could use to send on assignment to the Francophone African countries, and that was how we hired him. So he has the knowledge of that terrain, the geography of the border, whether from Badagry or from the other end, that kind of. So when the politicians were then trying to escape, and we always come to the aid and say, look, Saidi will take you to pass through that
Saidi
place.
will take you.
We take you. And it took a lot of people.
People like
Nauru, Chief Anthony Nauru, Bekor and some Kuti, and several others,
They all rode on that same Okada?
They rode on Okada to get to Cotonou before flying out of Nigeria. Flying out, they couldn't even fly through Cotonou. So they had to again take a ride, now a taxi ride to Accra to fly out. Yes.
And the intelligence agency did not discover those routes?
The president of now also went through that route.
Tinubu went through that route?
Went through that route, yes, to escape with a what is it called now? With what this thing that Muslims wrap around their head, Lawani, the turban.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had to disguise when they were looking for him. Yeah, yes. He paid his dues. He did well. Yeah.
The Nadeko route.
Yes.
Abacha. At some point when you were at Concord.
Yes.
You guys wanted to do a profile.
Yes.
On Abacha.
On Abacha.
He was then the chief of army staff.
Yes. I was actually sent to Kano to go and investigate his family background.
And you had to abandon that story.
Yes, because a call came from the publisher.
Abiola was the publisher.
I think when I began to talk to some members of his family, I think they told him that there is a journalist in Kano who is rummaging around for information about you. I think he then put a call to Abiola to stop us. And Abiola called and said, look, you guys, Abacha is different from Babangida. He will kill you people. He didn't even know that he will be the one to kill him too. He will kill you people. Back off from Abacha. You can abuse Babangida till tomorrow. The man may not do anything to you. But Abacha, please, if you want to be alive, stay off him.
Abiola said that?
Abiola said that, yeah. That was how we backed off from that story, yeah.
And Abacha would later kill him. You said,
yes, he will.
Did Abacha kill him?
Well, I mean, if Abacha had released him from prison and installed him as the president, because he won that election, he probably wouldn't have died in that place. Yeah, but that kept him in prison and in isolation. And then, what happened to him happened to him.
Was it Baba Okoya that said something?
Not Okoya. What's his name now? It's not. It wasn't Okoya. It's.
I will get that page.
Ojora,
yeah.
Ojora. I think what we were looking for fund.
Yes.
When we're looking for fund to set up the magazine, myself, Bayo Nonoga, Shekende, we went to his Ikoyi home. He's a jolly good fellow. Brought out champagne and we drank and started talking and all of that. So, well, I'm going to help you. I'll call my son, who's your contemporary, to look at your business plan and see how we can assist. And eventually, Begi Ojora, who is late now, provided 500,000 naira at that time as the family's contribution to the business. He just said, well, we now went back talking about our experiences with Abiola and said, the man wants to be president now. Young man, we know those who were president yesterday. We know those who are president today. We know those who will be president tomorrow. It's not one. It's not there.
It's not one of them.
It's not one of them.
He saw the future.
I think, yes, he saw the future. He's a member of the elite class.
Abiola was a member of the elite class.
No, Abiola was not. Abiola was different. That was why Abiola refused to live in Ikoyi and chose to live in Ikeja. He had contempt for the Ikoyi people. Abiola wanted to be seen as a man of the people. Rambunctious, charismatic, ready to sit down with the poor and eat with the poor and discuss with them, traveling everywhere around the country. It was clearly different. And the real elite don't seem to like that. If you have to belong, you must fully belong. You must ignore people like us and ignore everything that make you look like a populist.
And Abiola wasn't that character.
No, Abiola was, a former musician, former band boy. He's full of native wisdom. Dropping Yoruba proverbs. At every step. Engaging with women of different class, and it was clearly not your Ikoyi kind of elite. As Fela would refer to them, Ikoyi, Koya, and Were. That was Fela's the way he said, look, they are living among the dead in the cemetery. They don't have life. I think Fela and MKO has the same, contempt for the elites of Nigeria. Forget about the fact that he was wealthy, that he had friends at the high echelon of society, but they had contempt. Yeah.
How come he didn't know that the elite didn't want him? Or he felt he would confront them?
He felt that he would outsmart them. And he outsmarted them.
He outsmarted them?
He outsmarted them, yes.
But there was this core elite from the north, perhaps, that didn't want him.
I don't think it was only from the north. There was a core elite across the country that knew that Abiola becoming the president could upset a lot of things. They also believe that from my encounters here and there later, that transition was not meant to be. Abiola coming to contest with the man from Kano, what's his name now? Tofa was just a stopgap, and as the man himself later told us, I gave the account of that in the visit we made to Babangida. He said when he decided that Abiola and to enter into the race, and his friend realized that maybe he didn't mean it at that. He said, you have taken a risk. With Tofa, you could kick his butt and you go and sit down. But Abiola, the moment Abiola gets on the field and found that he's loved by the people, you can't ask him to stop again, and he will not stop.
He didn't stop.
So
it was a struggle for him.
Well, no, it wasn't a struggle. I mean, when you go to Kano and you are more popular than the Kano man, and you go to Enugu, you are very popular there. You go to every nook and corner of the country, people accepted you and they are welcoming to you. Then who then can say that it's bigger than you?
He was IBB's friend.
They were friends, yeah.
He was a contractor to the military.
He was, yes. It's like dining with the devil.
Did he see them as devil?
No, he didn't see them. He see that as opportunity.
As opportunity?
Yes.
And he grabbed the opportunity.
And that's the way of dealers. He was a dealer.
He was a dealer?
That's the way of dealers, yes.
And when the Femi Ojudus, the Bayo, Nonugas began to write story against IBB.
I'll tell you about that. It's a double-edged sword. We met an African Concord that was comatose. Now we began to push in all those stories, sweet stories and radical stories. We became the darling of Ghani Fawehinmi, Justice Akinola Aguda, Femi Falana. All the radicals in Nigeria were finding space, and people were loving Concord, African Concord. So wherever Abiola goes to, they hailed him for allowing freedom of the press, for allowing people to have a voice, and for, being a great man and that kind of. So he enjoyed that. And then when he gets to the midst of his friends, these your boys are attacking us, So he tried to find a balance, which was very difficult for him until, they had to, take tanks to the office and seal it up. And I rushed to the court to challenge them at that time.
You went to Gani?
Oh, yes, I went to Ghani Fawehinmi. I said, look, these military guys do not have the right to shut down our office. We have the right under the United Nations Human Rights Act to publish, to inform and be informed. Gani said, are you serious? This young man said, I'm very serious. Let them do their work. I must go to court.
You didn't tell Abiola before going to Gani?
No, I didn't tell Abiola. He then called his men. He said, come and see Femi. I don't want you coming back here tomorrow that you have been persuaded to withdraw this case. Chief, take it from me. On my words of honor, I would rather die than, not go ahead with this legal case. I said, okay, fine. Go and prepare the case. We'll go to court tomorrow and file. So we filed the case against Babangida and the military authorities. And the following day, everywhere was agog with the story. Femi Ojudu has gone to sue the military. So he called me to his house. Oh my, I've never been that abused in my life.
Abiola called you?
Yeah, he said I should come and see him. At that time, I was chairman of the Concord Chapel of
NUJ.
And well loved because of the way I handled the affairs of the NUJ at that time. They said, "Who is your father in this town? Have you ever done any business before? You went and abused my friend, and he sealed all this place. We are trying to unravel this whole problem. You have gone to court again." I said, look, Chief, I didn't go to court on your name. I go to court on my own personal recognition as a free Nigerian, free African, free citizen of the world who has the right to inform and be informed. Said, get out of my house. And I turned back and I left. That was it.
You know, while I was reading the book, I kept picturing that scene.
Yeah, I was just a tiny boy at that time. I didn't have all this flesh on my body. You know, I had nothing. I can tell you that at that time, yes, he had given me the car, a Peugeot 504 car, you know, that I could drive around. That was, you know, my first car in life. Give it to me by him. You know.
And at some point, you and Bayo Ononuga had to go and meet him.
Yes, and try to persuade us to, you guys are good writers. You know, just do a paragraph, apologize to Babangida and say that you have made a mistake. We didn't mean I said, look at this man, he thinks he's wise. You want to send us to jail. So, okay, we'll go and do that if that's what you want. If that is what will make them reopen this business. Because it was not just African Concord. We have National Concord, Sunday Concord, Weekend Concord, Amana, all kinds of publications were there. And then there was a huge bakery, the biggest bakery in Nigeria, you know, was in that premises at that time. So another businesses and equipment for his other businesses. So they sealed the entire place up. So we left. And now we're going. I told Bayo, I'm not writing anything. I'm resigning. And I said, okay. He will resign too. So we just got to the office, drafted our letter of resignation, you know, took it back to his house and dropped it at the gate with the gate man and fled. We went back to our office and packed our things and left.
That was it with Concord?
That was it with Africa Concord, yes.
At some point, you visited Bayo Ononuga.
Yes.
And you saw a letter on his table.
Yes.
I was wondering why you wrote that in this book.
Well, it's good to do that because, again, to let you know how long we've come. Yeah. Honestly, that was, I almost fainted. It also to let people see how forces could push one to doing what he do not intend to do. You know, there was a lot of pressure on him because
he was the editor at the time.
He was the editor at the time,
and you were assistant editor.
Abiola loved him so much. He treated him like his son. You know, give him things and everything. Abiola was present at his wedding. You know, so when that happened,
and you did not invite Abiola to your wedding.
No, I refused to. I don't invite people to that kind of thing because I don't want to be seen to be begging for favor. You know, that kind of. So, I. And that's one of the reasons I'm not organizing the formal launch for the book now. I'm going to do that. So, when that happened, and even before that happened, people have been saying within the premises in Concord that Ojudu will put us in trouble in this place one day. The kind of stories he writes and people interview, they've been humming it here and there. So when that happened, select people from close to Abiola went to me and said, Bayo, don't let this Ojudu put you in trouble. Even if you decide to start a paper tomorrow, it may not last 3 months. Your wife will hunger, your children will hunger. You know, Ojudu is too radical, it's too kigbani, you know, that kind of thing. So I think they also put pressure on the wife, you know, who is my very good friend and sister. We went to school together, and I was the best man at their wedding. I was with her yesterday. So they put pressure. So it was a result of that prayer that made him draft that letter.
And one of those who put the pressure was Dele Alaki?
Yes.
You know, when I said, so these men have known themselves way back.
They don't like me for who I was or who I am. This guy is too, sometimes they say abrasive, sometimes they say too radical, sometimes he's a troublesome person, that kind of. They are my friend, but I'm different. I have a totally different orientation to life, you know, and a philosophy about life. Comfort does not mean anything.
But you don't look it.
Yeah, that was what Minister Akinyele said one day. I met him at an occasion. He's late now from Minister for Information of Babangida. His name was announced. He went on the high table. Shortly after, I was announced to come on the high table too. When I arrived there, I sat by him. Who are you? You say you are what? I said, Femi Ojudu. So you are this handsome man. I said, am I supposed to have horns in my head to do what I so, you know, people don't know, you know, I think Ambassador Farubi was just telling me a few days ago in about a year when he said, Femi, this kind of things that you do, and your principle, your this, it does not go with your look and personality. And that's it. So they put pressure on him. He drafted that letter. You know, I think he already even had doubts about submitting that letter. You know, when I now came in, got to the house, Normally when I get to the house, the wife comes in and embraces me, we hug and talk, but this day he didn't do so. I already had and I've had people saying things behind my back, which got to me. So I just by the seat I sat, there was a coffee table, I just saw a white paper. As a journalist, I'm always curious. I just saw the draft of the letter of apology to Abiola and Babangida, and I just put it back. I got up straight, opened the door without telling anybody, and left.
You were pained.
I was pained, and that memory.
You felt betrayed.
Well, not betrayed. I was. It was pained out of pity for him, because I know that even if they take him back, if he goes back there, nobody will respect him again as a professional. So I didn't want him to be ruined. So I left home 2 hours after. He suffered in my house in Ketu, and said, "Femi, how are you?" I said, "I'm fine." He said, "I knew why you left the way you left." I said, "Why?" He said, "You saw the draft." I said, I'm not submitting that to anybody. I'm not doing that. I had to do it because some people put pressure on my wife and it became an issue. And that was how it then became resolved to stand by the decision we have made.
And both of you and others could come together to form the news.
Yeah. He had said enough was enough. He was packing his thing and leaving Nigeria. And I said no. Actually, at that time, there was no editor who will employ me, because I will insist on some things and I will do some things that may put the paper. There is no. For me, journalism must say the truth, no matter the consequences.
The Kunle Ajibades went to the African.
They went to the African Guardian.
Or Guardian, rather.
African Guardian to work. But I never even made an attempt to look for a job.
You went into fish business.
Yes, a friend of mine who had made money in fish, who was also my schoolmate in Ife, who were in the radical group together, and just said I should come and join him. And I did that. I failed. Woefully.
You failed?
Yeah, woefully.
You failed in fish business?
Yeah, because again, I always trust people. If you say you are white, I'll see you as white. If you say you are black, I'll see you as black. I went to Akure to look for a cold room. I got one, had it loaded with fish, and I was selling, but the cold room kept breaking down, and then I didn't want to take that risk again. I then went around looking for a better one in town, and I met this man. As I entered his cold room and office, I had the Jesus save, Lord, the Lord is your savior, this and that. I said, yes, I've met a good man. I didn't know that was a facade. So I said, look, come, I'll be bringing a truck of fish per week, to you. Put it in your cold room, you sell, take your profit, give me my money, and pay it to my account. So I did that first week. Second week, I had no money coming back to me. So I went back to him. He said, oh, the women from the market who came to take products were not paying. I said, no, that's not true. I've been in this business now for a while too. So I left. So and I went back to my friend. My friends just smiled. I laughed. It's late now. Debo Adeleke. He said, I knew you were going to have that problem for me. And that was a test. I've already written that off before even giving you that he may not come back with anything. So I cried right in his presence that this guy could take this risk just for friendship. So I abandoned it. My father said, no way, I'm going to pursue this man. My father employed a lawyer, took him to court in Akure, and won the case, and took bailiffs to the courtroom. By the time they got to the courtroom, he had moved all the engine off. It was just a carcass that was left there.
What a man.
Then my dad said, God will punish him for doing this to this young man. So it was Debo who said, Femi, you know what? Every blood in your body, every water, every veins in your body is journalism. Go back to what you know how to do. Go and meet your colleagues and see if you can, start your own thing. That was how I then started talking to my colleagues, and we then came together.
Kunle Ajibade went to prison.
Yeah, 3.5 years in prison.
You at some point were detained at different times.
Different times, and for reasons sometimes that I ought not to have, fighting for others. I remember the day they came to arrest Bayo. They went up to him. A lady came in and said he wanted to see him. Nobody suspected that he was a security person. He met Bayo. As soon as he got hold of Bayo, then the other men, hibernating somewhere, just rushed up, had Bayo by the trousers. Bayo said, look, I've just gone to pick this my little daughter who got married yesterday from school. And let me just keep him in the room where we have our typist just there so that you can take me away. They will now know how to get her to our mother. They didn't know that there was an escape route there. So Bayo just took the daughter, opened the door. It was a kitchen that we have turned into a production room where we have our typist typing our scripts. So he escaped. They waited and waited, they couldn't find him. They burst open the room and they just found out Bayo was not there. And they saw the escape door. They ran out, Bayo was gone with his daughter.
This is Bayo Ononuga.
This is Bayo Ononuga. So they came back for me. Where is Bayo? Where is Bayo? You people deceive us. Oh, yeah. They had me, threw me in their car and drove me to the cell. Ordinarily, I could have jumped off and run.
Why didn't you run?
They did. That's what I told you, that danger doesn't mean anything to me. Risk doesn't mean anything to me. I would like to ask, why will you, if you are looking for a buyer, why will you hold me? And that was the kind of thing I was telling them as they were taking me to Shangisha that day. And as they are taking me, I was smiling and laughing with them and making them see that all of this doesn't mean anything to me. The most you will do is to kill me, and I'll go and meet my God.
What was those experiences like?
No, excruciating. Not because of me and my personal suffering, because I just married a wife. She didn't bargain for that. I just had I just have two children, 2 boys at that time. They didn't bargain for that. I had my mom, who was a very, very delicate woman. There was a day the police stormed my house, and then my mother ran to the toilet and started stooling. I didn't know there was a connection between fear and stooling. She kept stooling non-stop until we rushed her to the hospital, until my wife rushed her to the hospital. So I made people around me to go through pains, and that paid me more than the pain inflicted on me.
And you were fighting for Nigeria?
Yes.
You wanted a beautiful future.
I wanted a free country, a country where people can say their mind. And that's why today, if you see my contributions on social media, when Kevin Badenoch said something, Nigerians are abusing. This lady has a right to her opinion. Davido is talking, saying his mind. Look, let everybody say their mind. If you disagree with him, if Davido said this is not good, and it's not good, you can tell him that he's right. Not to say that he should not say what it is. So those are the kind of things we fought for. Yeah.
This is the book to read. Adventures of a Guerrilla Journalist. It is the story we are reenacting here. Mm-hmm. But the details are here. The taste of the pudding is not in the cooking, it's in the eating. The taste of this book is in the reading. You can get your copy on udarabooks.com, udarabooks.com, or through the WhatsApp numbers on the screen. So order your copy now. Since we started this interview,
right,
I have not referred to you as Senator Babafemi Ojudu. Mm-hmm. Do you like being called Senator Ojudu?
I think I care less. I'm more comfortable when people call me Babafemi or Femi.
I'm more comfortable with Babafemi.
Yes, sure. It didn't add to me. Rather, it subtracted from me. I've had to do an article to say, look, I'm ready to throw away this title to just be my simple self. The baggage is too much.
How did he subtract from you?
Because the perception of the senator is a looter, somebody taking what does not belong to him, one of the people destroying Nigeria. And I do not see myself as one of those people destroying Nigeria. It doesn't even allow people to look back and see the contributions I've made. So it's and I will also say that my 4 years in the Senate has been the worst of my life till now.
How?
I wake up in the morning, I want to go to the chambers, I'm depressed.
You are depressed?
Depressed, seriously.
Why?
Depressed, because the kind of things I see around me. I went to the Senate believing that I could assist in solving problems, finding solutions to problems. But what I saw there wasn't glorifying to me. No.
What did you see?
If you add that to the prayer from home, just bring the money. Whether you steal it or not does not matter. Just bring the money.
That was the pressure from home.
So I became an object of money. It's like a woman who is being seen as an object of sex. So I was not comfortable with that, because that was not me. That could not define me. You keep dipping your hand in your pocket, trying to meet people's need, people who are not sincere, people who are just out there to rip you off.
So how did we get to that point?
Koyemi, I think it's something that sociologists will have to look at.
Because even when I still see senators and politicians,
yes,
what I see is what you have just described.
Those guys are suffering, no. They are suffering, Before we do transfer money through telephone, in those days when I was there between 2011 and 15. There was no, that kind of facility was not available. Our aides, we queue every morning, trying to send money out to people who have begged us overnight for one thing or the other. I want to pay my child school fees. Somebody's in hospital, you have to pay the bill. My wind has blown off my roof, you have to. There's no water in my area. All kinds of funny things. Even the boy will call me from Lagos and say, Senator, yes, good morning, how are you? Hope there is no problem. No, mo kúrò l'Ekiti lánàá, mo lọ Sondo ní Friday, mo lọ sí Èkó lọ ṣe fàájì. Mi wá rówó tí mo fi ọkọ̀ padà sílẹ̀, send owó sí mi o. I say, o lọ ṣe fàájì l'Èkó láti Èkìtì. You didn't think about how you are going to get back to Ekiti. It's me you are going to call. All of this put pressure on you. A king invited me for the wedding of the daughter, and I was not going to make it. I gave money to somebody to go and get the biggest cattle, the biggest cow in town, and give to him. So I called him. Kabiesi, she rí màlúù tí mo gbé ránṣẹ́. Ó lóun rí. He was quite not cheering. Kì í ṣe nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ látọ̀dọ̀ ẹnìyàn. If you look at that morning, coupled with what I've seen overnight, you never get to sleep. Your phone keeps ringing. And I'm one that does not ignore calls or messages. I've had all manners and face sought from boys who should not be my houseboy, and overnight. And that king, the reaction of the king to a gift, to top it off. I didn't know when I got at the edge of my bed and started crying.
You started crying?
I started crying. Then my 12-year-old daughter just walked in. She always wake up in the morning, come to my room to say, good morning, Daddy. I saw me cry. I said, Daddy, what is the problem? I said, this job is killing me. And he said, if it is killing you, if you don't like the job, why don't you resign? And I held to that. And that day I told myself, I will not go back. I will not attempt to go back to the Senate. And I never did. Everybody persuaded him to want to go and pick form to return. I said, I'm not going back. I won't.
Why was the king not happy?
He probably wanted a huge sum of money. So the cow was not enough. You give somebody money and say, you wondering what is a way? I'm renting a help, and you are saying, "Oh, a guy once called me one afternoon. I was in China. I said, hello. I just managed to open the phone and Senator, Ibola Muni mo in China. How do I get back home? Muni, I'm in China. Can't you find somebody to come and? I'm in China. These are the kind of things you get. One guy visited one money on a Saturday, came to me and I'm broke, Senator. This problem, that problem. I said, okay, sorry about that. I went in, brought 20,000 naira, a bundle, and gave it to him. He left. Not up to 2 minutes after he left me, somebody else came and said, I've been telling you, people are complaining that you don't give money. That man now just left you, is feeling despondent out there that you didn't give him money. Person who just left here that I gave 20,000 naira. So I now called him. I said, where you said this? So, please come. There is something I needed to tell you. So he came back. I said, okay. You came here this one that you are broke. How much did I give you? He said 20,000 naira. So why then did you tell this man that I didn't give you a dime? He said, if I told him you want to share of the money. I said, you have destroyed me in his face. And these are the kind of things you get. You help people, they would say you have not helped them.
Why were they coming to you?
Because they think that you are there to solve their problems. That they elected you. Even now, somebody comes to me to seek assistance and you say, I was your coordinator in 2011. I voted for you. Will this thing not end?
But you were elected to solve their problems.
Solve problems, not at micro level.
At what level?
Honestly, and that's what I used to tell my colleague. I said, for as long as we continue to think that we can solve problems at micro level, we end up being a victim. And that's why, up to today, not up to 15-20% of senators do go back for a second term. They always vote them up because you cannot solve everybody's problem at micro level. But let me explain this to be very clear. If there are problems of housing in Nigeria, let us look at it. How do we provide social housing? So that everybody can have access to it. So somebody will not be building a house, you say, come and give money to roof it. You know that government is solving that problem at the macro level. If there is a problem about education, let's adopt Awolowo's free education. Nobody will go to Awolowo's house when he was in public office to say, come and pay my child school fees. No, because the free education thing is there for everybody. Whether you have 1 wife, 2 wives, 50 children, you are, for as long as you pay your tax, you get access to free education. Same thing with water, same thing with health and everything. But look, do you know why I was in the Senate? We lost 5 of my colleagues to hypertension, to heart failure. There was a guy, I kept forgetting his name. We were together in Ife, brilliant lawyer, young man, ebullient, intelligent. One day we were flying together from Abuja to Lagos to attend the 8th day of Tinubu's mom's funeral. And we sat together in the plane. He said, Femi, this thing is killing me now. I don't know how I can survive this prayer. I have a house here, our policemen kept there, my townspeople are always there, my wife cooks all day, everything. And if I'm going to Delta, same problem. As soon as I'm landing, I'm dishing out money. I don't even have this money. And I don't have enough to do these things. I say, oh boy, calm down. Your life is more important for this thing. We came back. We came back on Sunday. That was the event was Saturday. We came back on Sunday. By Thursday, I just got a call midnight that he had a massive stroke and died. This guy had nothing.
He had nothing?
He had nothing. He was living in a rented house in Abuja. And when the news came that the landlord was going to chase the wife out 6 months after, we had to make contributions. So all of the glamour you are seeing, all of the so-called money, they are spent on hope that they are going to go back. I've had a colleague call me before, Femi, who after we left the Senate, Femi, please can you send me 20,000 naira?
For real?
I'm telling you. Take this, I'm not lying.
But I thought senators make a lot of money.
That is what people do not know. As they are making this so-called lot of money, the thing is going back. I couldn't visit my constituency in those days if I do not have 5 million naira for a weekend. People will troop in, you are cooking, you are buying beer, and when they eat and drink, when they are going, you must provide transportation. You must solve problems.
Because the political leadership is not solving problem at the macro level.
At the macro, that's what I'm saying. And we are part of the political leadership.
Yes.
Until we realize that we should join forces with the executive to solve this problem at the macro level, we continue to beat about the bush.
But it seems the political class enjoys that micro relationship.
Because we are not thinking.
I can see that is why they are not solving the problem at the macro level.
No, there is no creative thinking. Awolowo was a politician. Everybody around him they were politicians, but they were thinking. They look at a problem. How do we solve it? Because when you are solving other people's problem, you are solving your own problem too. As the Yorubas say, Olowo kan laarin igba otoshi. One person in the midst of 200 poor people is also a poor man. So take it from me, in most instances, 6 months after leaving the Senate, if you don't have a second address, and if you are used to a particular lifestyle, you become very poor 6 months after. 6 months? 6 months after, take it from me. Most public offices. There are some ministers of yesterday, you see them on the street, you do not know that they are unable to buy their medications for diabetes. So the day we are able to realize that this system too is not good for us, that's the day we then begin to find solutions to these problems. So rather than envy those people, pity them all. Do you know the one that suffers most? They go and sell their homes to get the ticket. They will sell, if they have another, they will sell another one to go through the general election. They will now go into the whole thing. At the end of the day, they may not be able to build those houses again.
It's sad, is it not?
Very sad, very, very sad. Very
sad.
We
must do something.
And the moment you live there, people abandon you. The same people who comes to you picking money will no longer visit you.
Because you can't solve problems.
You can't solve problems again, yeah. I've had occasions, 2 a.m., somebody will call me, they have rushed our leader to the hospital. I said, what am I going to do? You are in Ekiti. You are telling me a leader has been rushed to the hospital. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. Let him go there and seek hand. The Senator Kosowoni, there is no money. okay, this is 2 a.m. What am I going to do at this time? It was not the time you can transfer money on phone. You'll be pestered from that 2 a.m. till 6, 7 a.m. when you will now probably ask somebody to go and assist them with money. So sleepless nights, insults and abuses. So let me tell you this. There was a senator, I don't know whether I should mention his name. He was a general in the army. He was minister. They called them
commissioner.
Commissioner in those days, under Buitala in those days. We went to Ajaokuta on assignment. We were driving back. I sat beside him. He got a call on his phone. You are a fool. Your father is a fool. You are an idiot. You are talking to me like that. I said, calm down, sir. Calm down, sir. What is the problem? He said, one stupid boy from my constituency is telling me that because I've not sent money to him, he will ensure that I do not come back. What do I need this for? When I was a minister, your father was nobody. He was agitated. That's the kind of thing. Somebody, I'm talking of General Magoro.
But some would say serve them right.
Served who's?
Yes, the senators, the politicians serve them right, frustrate them since they are not fixing the problems.
Well, maybe that's another perspective, another way of looking.
Because if you fix the problem, nobody disturbs you.
If you look at the interviews I've granted when I was senator, you find them through Google, and I kept repeating that thing. Gentlemen, look, if they say you are good today because you are sending money, it's a lie. If 10 people comes to you, you are not going to satisfy all of the 10 persons. And one person can come to you 10 times. If you help 9 times and you fail to help on the 10th time, you're a bad person. And they will go around the town to mess up your name. Yeah, he's a stingy man. He's not a good man. Oh, this and that.
This country needs redemption, right?
Serious one.
And Babafemi Ojudu can help.
I'm retired.
The battles you fought here
yes.
were battles that bettered democracy.
Yes.
These battles were battles of a hero.
Yes.
And I think
again, it's not a battle an individual can fight and win. I want to give you the example of Professor Ayodele Awojobi. Very sad case. One of the most brilliant Nigerians that has ever lived. He was a mechanical engineer. He was concerned about all problems. And he thought the court was going to be an avenue to solve them on this. And he kept going on to the court. I was in the court the day he wore danshiki over on top of his suit to come to court. I knew that Nigeria has driven this man to an extreme. He will die shortly after. Because he took the entire problem of Nigeria, put it on his shoulder, and he then collapsed on his head. So the way for me to solve this problem is to come together. Look for people of similar vision and ideas. Come together as a collective. If you want to do it alone, you are gone, you are dead. Look at Ghani Fawehinmi. As brilliant, as tough, as committed as he was. Again, our people will not even give you the opportunity. They prefer the ones. Look, Awolowo, like I said, I've never seen anyone who says, I love Awolowo because he gave me money to pay my child school fees or he paid for my medical bill. They always say, I love Awolowo because he provided free education. He had good ideas. But today, you are loved because you are solving personal problems. And how many problems among 200 million people are you going to solve as an individual?
You just mentioned Ghani.
Yes.
Remember the trip to Gashua?
The Gashua, yes. That was
in Bonu?
That was one tricky one. Yeah.
I'm wondering, what kind of person are you?
You
just woke up,
crazy person.
Went to Ghani's wife Ghani.
Yes, let's
go.
That
Ghani is in Bonu?
Yeah, let's go there. Let's go and search him out.
And you just packed your bag?
That's me.
Straight to Gashua?
Without even telling anybody around me. That's me. And that day, what happened, really humbled me, Again, I have this survival instinct, very sharp, very, very sharp. Where it comes from, I do not know. Quickly, I find solutions and escape danger. We got to Maiduguri, and we had to travel 5 hours from Maiduguri to Gashua. That on a very bad road in those days. We got late to Gashua. At the park.
How did Ghani get to Gashua?
They picked him up from the court premises, took him to the Air Force base, put him in Akuli's plane and flew him to Maiduguri, then drove him down to Gashua. Nobody knew where I was taken to.
But you got hints?
I got hint. I had sources. We had correspondent in Maiduguri who got the information and called me. Said Gani has been located in Gashua. So we got to Gashua. We didn't know where to sleep. We didn't even know where to go. So, and okay, we then look for an hotel. The best hotel, according to us at that time, was one bungalow with about 6 rooms. Only one staff.
And that was the gate man?
That was, no, not the gate man. There was no gate man. There was even no gate. That was the man that, that allows you into the room, collect the money, and give you one small soap to bath with. So we got in there. And the heat was at its peak. If you touch the bed, it was like an oven. So Mrs. Fawehinmi went to his own room. One of the Ghanaian lawyers went to his own room. I went to mine. And I came out and said, young man, come and give me water. I need to at least pour water on my body. He said, I will give you water. But I go SSS office. What is happening there? He said, SSS tell us, say, if visitors come, they come report. I was like, that's a good one. Please go. As soon as he left, I went to Madam, let us go. There is danger.
That was Ghani's wife.
That's Ghani's wife. And we left that night. Where we are going to, we didn't know. So we're just walking towards the direction. Then I saw a bike. I stopped it. I saw another one. I stopped it. I said, is there any secondary school around here? He said, yes. Okay, take us to the secondary school. So got to the gate of the secondary school. We met the gate man. Said, I'm a father. I came with my wife from Lagos. We come to see our son who's a copper in this school. Where is the hostel? I was happy. Took us to the hostel. I saw 2 Yoruba boys, 2 Hausa guys. Said, well, this is Mrs. Fawehinmi. I'm a journalist from Concord. We've come to look for Gani. Okay. They said we should sit down. I sat down. Said, in fact, the doctor who is attending to Gani now in the hospital, Gani had collapsed in prison. They've rushed him to the hospital. He's already admitted in the hospital. That the doctor also lives there. So, that for me was. So, he said he will soon return. So the guy came. How is Gani? This and that. He said, it's fine. He's reacting to treatment and all of that. The wife said, please, on her knees, please, make sure they don't poison him. They don't kill him. The doctor and other guy said, calm down, madam, calm down. Nothing. For as long as I'm here, nothing will happen to your husband. Said, look, I was a student in the University of Maiduguri. I was a unionist. Myself and my colleagues were rusticated and expelled.
By Jubril
Aminu. We ran to Lagos to meet Gani. Gani took up our case from the lower court to appeal and to Supreme Court. It was at the Supreme Court we were ordered to be readmitted. And he didn't take a dime from us. In fact, he used to give us allowances to come to court.
That was Gani?
That was Gani. He said, madam, write your message to him. Mr. Journalist, write your message to him. I wrote, then took to Gani. So Gani replied us. And, so the following morning by 4 a.m., we were up and took off. And I wrote in the book that just last year, I was on LinkedIn, and a guy just sent a message to me, inbox, and said, Mr. Ojudu, I was the doctor you met in Gashua. That, so I'm now, I'm about to retire from medical practice in Bauchi. And this was, Madame slept in my room that night. You and the lawyer went to sleep in my colleague's room and that kind of thing.
That is a guerrilla journalist.
That is guerrilla journalist. And we went to the airport. We went to the park, took a vehicle, ran away, landed in Maiduguri, then flew back.
When you went to meet Beko during the SAP riot.
Yes.
When the military shot some rioters.
Yes.
And denied it.
Yes.
And you needed evidence to publish your story. Yes. You went to Beko.
God bless his soul. God bless his soul.
You said Beko mentored you.
Yeah, he mentored me.
When he gave you that idea of going to the morgue.
He said, look, I was a stupid man. He could be very wry humor. He said, you can't just go there. Give the man in charge of the mortuary some money. Tell them that you are looking for your relation, and then enter and take all the photographs you want. So that's a good idea. I went back to the office, got one of my photographers, I checked Mola Kitchen, and look, we are going for a special operation. We are going to the morgue.
Special operation.
At that time, military Babangida was the one.
Wait, entering the morgue, there's that's the first time I entered the morgue, there's this feeling, I still feel it.
As a journalist, you must be able to do anything. You must be able to enter into a morgue. you must be comfortable everywhere, that kind of thing. Because the idea of your collecting stories propel you to want to do that, take the risk and everything. So we got to the morgue. I met the guy, that's General Hospital in Central Lagos. I got there. Hello, sir. Sir, I've been to my brother went to participate in riot. For the past 5 days, he has not returned home. And we've checked everywhere, police stations everywhere, can't find him. Somebody said we should go and check the morgue. So I said, they brought people here. Can you identify him? I said, why not? I said, but they are getting bloated though. You see, I said, well, no matter what, I will recognize my brother. So I said, thank you very much. My parents will be happy if we are able to find this, and then put my hand in my pocket. I gave him money. So he followed us, and Shegun Lakita went to the morgue, and I saw piles of bodies on the ground. So when he was with us, I would then use my hand to push this aside, push that aside.
Use your hand?
Yes, my bare hand. So when I saw a young man, I screamed, "This is my brother." I ran out. He ran after me to allow Shegun to take the photographs. Pa. Shegun took the photographs.
You were acting.
It was acting.
You just wanted to take him out of that.
I wanted to take him out to allow Shegun to
take the picture.
So when I shouted and cried and ran, so he thought he should comfort me. So he ran after me, and he kept comforting. And as he was comforting me, I was shouting and I was crying. So Shegun was snapping away at the dead bodies. So the following week, boom, on the cover of the magazine,
published the pictures.
Yes, that was at that point, nobody could deny that they killed people. And I went to Beko and I did a thumb up.
That is the adventure of a guerrilla journalist.
Yeah.
The Gideon Okaku.
Yeah. The man, we just woke up Sunday morning, we learned that there has been a coup. Some states has been excised from Nigeria. And, when such big event happened, what you do as journalists to quickly converge in the office and then decide on what angle, particularly if you are working for a weekly, what angle will you look at this? And I got to the place and I suggested, gentlemen, the best that can happen is for us to know who this man Oka was. And so we picked the information that his wife, is from Elisha, and that he served in Ibadan. So okay, Bayo just bought a car then, second-hand Datsun car. We got in the car and drove to Ibadan. Got to the cantonment in Ibadan here, the military place. And somebody told us, no, Oka didn't serve here. Oka actually served in, he's actually served in Shaki. Let's go to Shaki. We got to Shaki late in the night. And we proceeded immediately to the Mamim market. There is this adjoining place to the barrack where soldiers go to drink, carry prostitutes and smoke and all kinds of things. So if you are familiar with Mamim market, you can pick a lot of information from there. I've picked information about coups and executions from Mamim market. So we got there, the place was deserted because Oka had just been arrested, and this was his base. So we left frustrated. So are we going to live without again, we look for where to sleep. Again, in Shaki at that time, just a bungalow with some rooms. So we got accommodation, we slept. So all night I was thinking there must be a solution to this problem. So we woke up, we met in Bayo's room and said, look, this is a military officer in charge of this place. It must be known by the banker, by the bank manager of the banks here. It must be known by photographer in this town. So either of those people can give us information. So as we are stepping out of the hotel where we slept, she just saw a guy. She said, that's my classmate in Ife. She the publisher of City People Now. He just called his name. The guy jumped at us. We are here. This is why we are here. And I was I used to go play lawn tennis with him at the barracks. Do you have his photograph? He said, no, unfortunately, I never took photograph. So, and I said, okay, where is the major photographer in this town? So he now pointed to the place to us, and then he followed us there. I met a young girl, about 15, who was an attendant in the photo shop. And I said, come on, we were here the other day to take photograph. We have not been able to collect the photograph. Where is your Oga? I said, my Oga traveled. Okay. Then can you please let us even look at it to see if the photograph was good or not good. He now brought out photographs. So no, it's not in these photographs. We couldn't find the photograph. He now brought out negatives. When he brought out that negative, I looked at it, I could see the military beret. I said, Coke, this girl, we are thirsty. Take money, go and buy Coke for me. So I gave her the money. She left to buy Coke. So I started pocketing the negatives. I took as many as I could. And he came back. Oh, this Coke is hot. Whatever. Oh, no, we're looking for cold ones. The woman next door who said Coke, the place is far. Oh, yeah, take another money. Go and get cold Coke. By the time she left and come back, I've taken as many negatives as I could. And then the guy who was his colleague, I then started holding them to the light for him to, yes, that's okay. At there's this thing they do for soldiers on Memorial Day or something. Lay it. I couldn't wait to get to Lagos at that moment. So we thanked the guy, he departed. The girl came back, I gave him additional money for herself. She was excited. Off to Lagos we got.
She didn't know that you had taken some negative.
She didn't know.
You stole the negative.
Practically stole.
So guerrilla journalists can steal.
Can steal information. And then plead to God to forgive him.
Did you plead to God?
Daily.
To forgive you?
All my transgressions. So we got to Lagos, quickly rushed to the studio to print the photograph. Lo and behold, it was Oka. And then we gave it to our national daily paper. That was the first photograph Nigerians saw of Oka, who was arrested.
Did you like that coup?
I think it was stupid to want to excise any part of Nigeria. At that time, we were all calling for change. All the radicals in Nigeria were calling for one change or the other. We were very unhappy with Babangida's regime. But for some people to come and then, interestingly, after the coup, I traveled to all the state excise to go and talk to their leaders. They were so annoyed. They didn't know anybody could even have that kind of idea. And I think that idea itself led to the failure
of the coup.
Because people now rallied to save Nigeria rather than to save. It was not to save Babangida and his government, but to save Nigeria. That was how they rallied.
But Babangida was rattled.
He was terribly rattled. And he said so when I met him later, that the two things that gave him sleepless nights was the Oka coup and the phenomenon of your journalism. So, but again later, I traveled to America. Many of the coup plotters, particularly the ones from Delta State, a lot of them are from Delta State officers, fled. They had alternative plan. People like Oka just went in headlong. They didn't have alternative plan. As soon as the team failed, these ones just fled Nigeria, and then they found themselves in America. So they got to America, they went to register in school. Many of them became medical doctors, became professors. So I also gave myself an assignment to go and search them out.
Did you interview Ogboru?
Yes, I interviewed Ogboru.
He was the financier, right?
Yes, he was the financier, yes. Selling fish at that time. I interviewed, there is a Major Mukoro, who later became a professor in the University of Mississippi. I traveled all the way to Mississippi. Initially, he didn't trust me, but when we started talking and all of that, then big interest in me, and even said he now offered me a room in his house to sleep. And I had a long interview with him, which I published. And so many others like that across the United States who have changed their life to academics or medical doctor or whatever. So I did a thorough story on that too, coming back.
Before we round off, you remember Bagauda Kato?
Yes, one of my most resourceful reporter. One of the boys. He's a guy who will call you, I've gotten this, I've gotten that. Things that you think it was not possible. There is no cupboard that you can open and pick out the skeleton.
That's why Abacha went for him.
Yes, but that story is a long story. I think I told the story in the book. They went for him, they arrested him, and they tortured him to death. That same day, they came for Sheikh Kende. They wanted to arrest Sheikh Kende because he provided information. We did the other legwork in Lagos. Sheikh Kende now string the story together. Miriam Abacha, the unauthorized story. Very good story. Now, it was about Miriam Abacha being betrothed to one Alhaji in Katsina and then leaving the place to go and, marry a young officer and that kind of thing. So Abacha didn't like it at all. So they arrested Bagauda. Meanwhile, we have been warned again that be careful. Even if you abuse Abacha, don't abuse El Mustafa, the security officer, or Madam. That those two, they will kill you instantly for doing so. So they came to Lagos for Sheyekinde. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all of our staffs were marched out, about 200 plus, and asked to line up on the road in Nogba. So I was the only senior officer, most senior person there. They now said I should go and be identifying them one after the other. And I've seen Sheye. I saw fear in his face. I saw that he was gone, but he was able to stand up on the queue, on the line rather. And when I got to him, I just said, "This Shukudi." As I mentioned Shukudi, they moved to the next person, and I mentioned the next person. So when they did all of that, and there was no Sheyekinde, they marched me into their car and took me away to detention. So Obasa, the general manager of the company, was around. He then went into his car and followed us to know exactly where they were taking me. So because since they arrested Bagada, nobody has been able to know where he was taken. And so as they drove into the compound of the security people, he followed them. When they saw him, they were mad. They said he should come out of the car, and they brought me out. The frog jumped the two of us. He was on the heavy side, he nearly collapsed, and they quickly asked him to get up and get his car and drive off. And they took me inside, removed my clothing, only left with my underpants, kept me in a room as small as this with about 4 air conditioners. So I think it was a torture chamber. So they would come from time to time to beat me up, slap me, kick me, and all of that. I'll shout, I'll cry. So they did that from about 7 p.m. till about 4 a.m. So when around 4 a.m., the cold, the beating had got into me, and I was almost fainting, and the guy who came in last to give me that beating saw me and feared. And I saw him go out with his walkie-talkie. I had him making frantic calls. So when that didn't work, he came back and said, "Young man, where is your hospital? Where is your hospital? Where is your medical doctor?" I said, "At Alausa. There is a clinic we engaged for that in Alausa." So they quickly called a driver, put me inside the car, drove me to Alausa. We got to the gate of the hospital. They banged the gate. Bah, 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 bah. As soon as the nurses answered, they dropped me and they fled. So I was taken in, admitted for 3 days. In fact, I wrote just yesterday PM on Facebook, the Dr. Bode Tawak was at the party, was at the wedding ceremony of Bayo's daughter yesterday. So he was there and took photograph with him and wrote about it. So they took me in. After 3 days, I was okay. Went back to the office, called all my colleagues, come home. This matter appears to be serious. If they had seen Sheyekinde, he would have been dead. They would have tortured him to death. And I said, "Oh, Sheye, please stay away from the office, stay away from your home. Go and hide somewhere." So 2 weeks after, he called Shawano that he would like to meet with us. And he came and submitted his letter of resignation that his family has advised him to quit. So that was how he went to form City People magazine. Again, another brilliant, resourceful journalist. Yeah.
I must celebrate them. Dakbo Olorinyomi.
Yes, Dakbo is a fantastic writer.
You say he writes elegant prose.
Elegant prose. You'll be dancing when you are reading him.
That's the Premium Times man.
Yes, the Premium Times man. We're a collection of crazy people. Bayo was a technical person. He knows how to plan the pages, he will edit and that kind of thing, I was investigative. I could go to any level to pick up materials, and I will write, not like that what we write, but that what we then come and turn it into song,
Kunle
Ajibade was his expertise was in literature, literary things, He would interview all of the literary people. He had a master's degree in literature, so that was his fault. So in his own case, there was no reason to arrest Kunle Ajibade. He was the most gentle, least offensive, least dangerous among us, But they had come for me the day before he was arrested.
You were the one who collected that document from Beko.
From Beko, but I escaped again out of sharp instinct. I came to the office at 1 p.m. I used to go pick my son from creche, and this afternoon I took him home, and when I got home I was tired. I had a suit on, tie and everything. I fell on my couch and I slept off. I woke up at 4:30 to go back to the office. I just said, why should I go back again with tie? I went showered, changed to knicker, t-shirt, and face cap. That was what saved me that day. And I drove myself about 3-4 meters to the office. I saw my gate wide open, which was so unusual. That immediately, gave me a sign that there was something wrong. So at that point, I just drove in. I drove in, came out of the car, walked into the office. I saw 6 men sitting at the reception area, strange looking, unknown to any of us. That again cemented that my suspicion. So as I was about to pass through the receptionist and her desk, Monday morning, our photo editor just ran from the newsroom. You are looking for Ononuga. You are looking for Ononuga. I said, what is the problem? Ononuga is not here. Ononuga is here. You people are just... I said, no, I'm not security. I'm Ononuga's mechanic. He gave me his car to repair. I have the car in my yard. There are so many thieves there. If that car stays longer, they will steal all the parts. This is his key. I'm dropping it. When he's ready, let him bring the money for the parts. And I reversed, went back to the gate, and I ran and fled.
Both of you were acting.
He was acting. He was giving me a signal. Yeah. At that time they wanted to arrest me for the coup, which I knew nothing about.
But you published the story. You got the document.
I got the document
from Beko.
Yes, from Beko, to say that it was a phantom coup because Fadile wrote a speech and wrote a statement when he was being tried, and we got hold of the statement. Beko faxed it. They intercepted the fax and they arrested him, charged him. You
warned Beko?
I warned Beko. Beko doesn't also fear anything.
Where was he getting those documents from?
No, people will give you documents if they know that you are forthright. If you are a journalist who is serious and forthright and you publish things, they will give you documents.
And you had that close relationship with the civil society?
Yes, I was
with the Ghanese or Lisa Bakoba.
In fact, myself, Beko, and Fela started CDHR, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights.
Even CLO?
CLO, all of us were there. People were there. Campaign for Democracy, we were all there.
You fought for this democracy?
For almost 2 weeks at a time, I was not sleeping at home. I was writing myself, who is of the nation now. We were writing graffitis all over under bridges in Lagos. Free Ghani Fawehinmi, free this, free that. I don't know if you are aware of those periods.
Yes.
Graffiti we buy paint, write graffiti everywhere because Ghani Fawehinmi was arrested and detained. So I would do that all night, go back home to go and sleep. I would still go the next day to go and do my editorial work.
You are the guerrilla journalist.
One day, security men chased us, myself and Mama Sheye. They were pursued until we got to Ghani's house and ran inside.
Beko was sentenced to life imprisonment.
Ajibade was sentenced to life imprisonment too. So, after that experience, when I left, they now went to the car, searched my car, and found out it was me. And they found out that Emoni has deceived them. They pounced on him, locked him up for 2 weeks. Emoni said he told them, how will it sound to the world that you have arrested the photographer? He said, who cares what the world thinks? So sadly, Emoni is very sick now. When I was about to go to the press, I needed his photograph. I called his number several times, didn't pick. Later somebody called me and said, who are you? Is that Emoni? I said, no. Emoni has been sick for 2 years. He had stroke. And I'm the nurse taking care of him. And I said, sad, please, can you give me his address? He cannot give me until he talks to the children abroad who employed him. So the children now called me and said, okay, give me the address. I went to see him. And I got to the house. He couldn't talk again. All the limbs were paralyzed. And he started crying. I started crying too. So he did it. I would have gone to jail. I would have been sentenced to life imprisonment. Like Kunle Ajibade, like Chris Anyanwu, and others journalists who were arrested, for being accessory to the fact of treason, because of those things we were writing then. So the following day, they laid an ambush. Ajibade lives in Ibadan. He comes from Ibadan, maybe twice or thrice in a week to attend meetings and do his work. As he just arrived there, they just pounced on him, took him, tried him and sentenced him.
And that was his journey to prison.
That was his journey to 3.5 years with a wife, a young wife, and 2 kids. The two of them, incidentally, are professors now. So we were discussing yesterday and sharing this in that. At least, thank God, we are alive and our children are doing well.
I said I was going to ask you a question before I ran off.
Right.
Who killed Abacha?
But
did Abacha die?
Wait for my new book. Wait for my upcoming book.
I've been wondering.
Politics. I'm telling you.
You know,
I'll tell you a story. I'll tell Nigerians a story that will unravel all these things. It's only known, that's what is known to two of us.
Abacha was killed.
I said the story about Abacha's death, Abiola's death, is known to two of us Nigerians, one in Northerner and myself.
You are wasting time.
I'm not wasting time.
Because I've always wondered what happened to Abacha.
I've told individuals what happened, what happened, and now we got to know what happened.
Can you whisper to me?
Maybe off record for now. These are things I want to keep for my next book.
It seems you have decided to be writing books.
No, it's, I have about 5 books in works.
Including your this is an autobiography.
It's not my autobiography.
But it's an autobiography. It's your story.
It's a small part of my life. I can tell you the title of my autobiography.
What's the title?
A Good Fight.
A Good Fight. This is Adventures of a Guerrilla Journalist.
Yes, A Good Fight is the main one. But I have stories that I'm going to write about my experience in government. I'm going to write about the kind of crazy things I've done in Ekiti. I've removed the governor in Ekiti, you know. I impeached Fayose. I plotted and scripted the impeachment of Fayose.
You did?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I did.
In connivance with Obasanjo?
Obasanjo, I used Obasanjo.
You did?
Yes, and when Obasanjo realized, he fought against me. He fought back.
How? Just give me some.
Obasanjo said, I had an agreement I signed that, if Fayose has been doing this and doing that, if you are going to impeach him, make sure you don't impeach the deputy. I agreed and I signed. I took all the lawmakers to Lagos. I kept them in hotels. I was feeding them. I was taking them around at least about.
Then you were not a senator.
No, I wasn't. I was a journalist.
How were you able to do that? Who funded it?
I had money.
You had money?
I had money. My friend gave me money. My friends gave me money.
You took all the members of House of Assembly?
I took them and I paid them money to follow me.
They were members of PDP.
Yes, interestingly.
Fayose was PDP.
They were not happy with him. I saw that lacuna. I saw that weak link, and I exploited it. I took them out of here.
So?
Took them to Lagos. Obasanjo, somehow I used people around him to convince him that there was need to do that. We did it. And got him out of the place. But Obasanjo was angry and then gave soldiers to the deputy governor to return to Ekiti and proclaim herself as deputy governor. So when she got there, I got people to resist her too. So he had no alternative than to declare an emergency.
You did that?
Yes.
You're going to give us details in
my next book.
And Fayose?
About Fayose. And Fayose sued me. I wrote a lot of things on Fayose. You will see those in the book. He sued me for libel. So 1.something billion. Fela was my lawyer. We went to court. I presented my facts. By the time we finished, the Judge Sidramola in except Fayose, from all that has been put before us, you have no honor and you have no integrity. And anybody can now, from this time on, write anything on you, abuse you, insult you, and defame you. You have no honor. Judgment. Fayose appealed and went to appeal court in Ilorin. We followed him there with Fela as my lawyer too. Appeal court affirmed that judgment that Fayose has no honor with all the things this guy has put down, evidences.
So does Fayose have honor now?
He doesn't. Where will he get it? He's a man of dishonor.
But he became governor again.
Because people are hungry. The Boko Sebe, vote and cook a pot of soup. 5,000. Everybody will vote in an environment of poverty. Yeah, so I just look at it.
So you don't have any.
And I'll be the only one who have defeated him in an election. Fayose. He stood against me for Senate. And we went to the battle, and he had 20,000 votes. I had 60,000. It's also a story, interesting story, how I got him defeated. He had the money to spend. I didn't have money to spend. And the radio station in Ekiti organized a debate between me and him, which was actually an unfair competition because they know that way. So he got there, I went in my agbada. He came in a t-shirt and jeans. And as soon as he entered, I saw that an inscription on that t-shirt. Politics is serious business. And I saw that there was politics was wrongly spelled. Yes. Me do. So I quickly called my photographer. Please go and snap his chest. Snapped it. So went on, accused him of murders and all kinds of things, and insulted me, called me a roadside journalist, and all that. I was just waiting. So after we had thrown all kinds of barbs at each other, the moderator said, well, we have come to the end of the debate, but I'm going to give you 2 minutes. So who is going to start? I said, no, my governor must start now. It's my governor. I have to respect him. Okay, so he thought I was actually being civil. And I needed to talk loud so that he would have no reply. So after he finished, now my turn, I said, today is my saddest day. I do not know what I will tell my 13-year-old daughter when I get back home. That the man who was my governor, the man who wanted to go and represent Ekiti in the Senate, do not know how to spell politics. People at home, please, I'm calling your attention to the chest of this former governor of yours who wants to go to the Senate. He cannot spell politics. Are we going to continue to have illiterates in power? He just put his hand on his chest and ran out of the studio. So, by the time I left the studio, my phone rang, text messages. That was a killer punch.
So today, if you see Fayose, do you exchange greetings?
Well, yeah, I greet him, but each time I notice when he's shaking me, he's nervous. I impeached him. I defeated him in an election.
But he bounced back.
Well, yeah, that's that. Our environment is a funny one. And that's why I believe that people like me, cannot survive in that kind of environment.
Do we need a revolution?
Huh?
Do we need a revolution?
Oh, sure, certainly. We are going nowhere with this evolution process. Oh.
We need a revolution.
I told a friend yesterday, I said, if we continue this way, for Nigeria to be sane, we need another 200 years. But if we have a strong leader, like Ataturk, coming here, within a period of 4 or 5 years, he will straighten us out.
Tinubu might straighten us out.
It's not an Ataturk.
It's not an Ataturk? Mm-mm. You should go study Ataturk?
He should, if he cares.
But time is running out.
Because, Turkey was in a worse condition than we are in. Ethnic rivalry, religious problem, poverty, prostitution. At that point, they were calling Turkey, a sick man of Europe. And then Ataturk just came and straightened everybody out, all the talk about enthralling wiped out, good education, and that's why we have the Turkey that we have today.
Has Tinubu made things worse?
That's a political thing I don't want to discuss. He's my friend. You should allow your friend to do what he does and let the people of the country judge him.
There is one young man, Dele Farotimi. Because in your book, you said you became unsolicited image maker for Afe Babalola.
Yes. This was the same Afe Babalola that did not contribute to the formation of the news.
Interestingly, I do not. If I don't seek favors, if for any reason I seek favor from you, which is not for personal needs, I don't take it against you. That you might have your reason for not doing so. So I do not. That he didn't help me that time. I don't take it against him. But he did something. He did something at the age of 80. He decided to set up a university. I had my doubt. How can a man who should be getting ready have his passport ready to go to the other side and in the departure lounge? So I mobilized some professionals from Lagos who are my friends. Let us go and encourage this old man and find out how he wanted to realize this goal. So we hired a boss and we went and I met him on site. Directing bricklayers, iron benders, all kinds of people. Agile and everything. So I engaged him. He took us through the possibility of setting up that university. 17 years down the line, go and see what the man has done. He's a man who makes the impossible possible, as the title of his autobiography says. So for me, it's an outspoken Ekiti man. I think, in fact, there was a time when he went publicly and said, this boy is like me, he's as stubborn as myself. He's very stubborn. He will tell you his mind, whether you are king or chief or anybody or rich man. So it's like that. I admire him greatly.
Have you read Dele Farotimi's book?
I've read a bit, excerpts of it, and I've read Baba's case as well. That kind of book will not change my mind about the man. No, it will not. It will not. I've read everything, and
You know, it's I don't mind. You know, I've told you. Let me tell you this. I ruffled feathers as a journalist. Bode George, Rotimi Williams, top people, House of Reps man. We wrote a story that sent him out of House of Reps.
Buhari?
The Face of a Liar magazine. We collected data to show that he didn't go to school. We then published The Face of a Liar. You see, the thing is that when you are going to allege something against a person, you must have all your facts, not just ready. You must have them, you know, straightened out. Let me tell you what another dangerous thing I have done before. I accused the Sunuko judges of taking bribe under Justice Mohammed Bello, and I wrote the magazine story. It was well sold, and they came out and got the register to deny it. The next edition, I now published the photograph of the cars they took from Babangida. I didn't stop at that. I went to a car registration center in VI, in Broad Street. Are you listening to me?
I'm listening.
I got the registration numbers, got the photograph of the vehicles, got the registration number on the name of the judges, and I published it. Then Justice Mohammed Bello invited me to come and see him. I got there. I said, young man, I've read your story. You are not lying. You need to know our condition, the condition of our vehicles before this thing, before we were given these vehicles. Some of our colleagues were coming to work and their car will break down. And I said, sir, yes, I've listened to you. I can understand your anguish. But don't you have budget in the Supreme Court to buy cars rather than taking the car from a military ruler? Having taken a car from him, can you rule any case against him? He then looked at me. He said, you are right, young man, but let the sleeping dog lie.
You had your evidence.
Yes.
Is it this story, Crooks on the Bench?
No, this is not it.
Because this paper, this front page
yes.
of the news is now circulating everywhere on social media.
Yeah, that's
Crooks on the Bench, an expose on the rot in the judiciary.
Yeah, that was looking at experiences with judges everywhere. Again, nobody could pick us at that time because we had our evidence there.
So Delero to me has wrote about the criminal justice system.
I don't want to go to this case is sub judice, and Afebala is my uncle. So I don't want to get involved because I have my biases. I don't want to spoil anybody's case, So I've tried to avoid it. I've talked to Baba one-on-one, This morning I still spoke to Femi Fela, and we discussed this and what strategy can we adopt to resolve this matter. So I don't want to go into all of these things, Will I say Baba is wrong or will I say the guy is wrong? But all I can affirm, the Afebala I know, is a man who's very ethical. He's a straightforward person, very stubborn. He will tell it as it is. And when I met him, he tried to convince me about that case. He was not involved. He never went to court for once on the case that defamation is anchored. As I said, if the news does anything wrong now, go after the news. Don't go after me. You ought to have gone after
the chamber.
The chambers are not the man.
But he mentioned the owners of the chamber.
Yes. Again, if Abiola dies tomorrow, 10 years time, you have an issue with the chambers. We used to mention the name as being responsible. The man has put all his attention on the university. He lives right within the campus. He abandoned his house in town, live on the campus. He goes to work every day, even now. He daily attended to things about the university. So
when you spoke to him, is he ready to settle out of court?
Baba is stubborn. I would just say that.
Baba is stubborn.
Very stubborn. And because again, he will tell you that look, what else does he have left other than to protect his name?
Is he pained by the publication?
Who will not be pained? That's why when you're a journalist or a writer, do you know how to the test of fairness you can go into? Substitute the name of the person you are writing about with your own name. Then you will know what I'm talking about. When you are writing, to be fair, substitute the name of the person. Look, I've had things written about me, and my children were crying. Things that I know that were false.
Your children were crying?
They abroad, where they were, they will cry on me. Daddy, why are they writing this about? I say, look, you take the benefit of my fame, you must also take the... So calm down. If you are the son or daughter of Obasanjo or that of Tinubu, what has not been said about those people before? So I think that's just a way of. But these things are very painful.
So before you defame or write something negative about people, you must ensure that you have your facts.
Are you sure he doesn't have his facts?
He will go and prove that in the court. I'm not judgmental in this. I'm just saying that make sure that you have your facts, because you'll be called upon to come and justify your writing.
Thank you for writing this book.
Okay. My pleasure. I'm happy that you find it useful and interesting.
I love the book.
Yes. I've read it 3 times after too. I kept also asking myself, why did I come by writing this?
How long did it take you to write this?
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah, 1 year, 1 year plus. I kept reworking. Yeah.
You know, on a good day, are we reading people?
We are not. If we are reading people, by now I will probably be thinking of marrying 3 more wives as a Muslim.
For the year?
I'm a Muslim. I'm going to 64. I've only been courageous enough to marry only one.
You want to marry more?
No, I'm saying that to meet that
yes.
thing, I would just, if money had come from this, like it would have, if it were in America or Britain,
yes.
I just want to go and take 3 more wives.
I'm a bookseller. While I was reading it, I was saying this is a best seller.
Yes.
But I also know how many books we said on average.
Yes.
And I said,
for me, it's even not about the money. It's about putting out my story out there.
But people should read it.
Yeah, they should. They will eventually. Those who matters will read it.
More people should. On a good day in America, this book should sell more than 1.5 million copies.
Let me tell you this. I have a lawyer friend in UK. When I sent him the manuscript, he invited me over, and he was trying to work with a Penguin to see if Penguin could publish it, and it was wild. Then also to get Netflix to do a docudrama out of this. You know, the way the publishers in the West look at us, like we don't have a story. You know, I kept going back to Britain, and when I got tired, I said, let me just put out the story. You know, and somehow I'll get a script writer to do a script that we can sell to Netflix and see whether they go in.
Because I could see movies.
Yeah, honestly, there are a lot of
things. I could picture, the scenes.
Yeah.
This is a good book.
Yeah, and that's why if you want to have a story, get involved. Get involved. If you are not involved, it may be risky.
And your writing style?
Simple. I'm not trying to...
You don't need a dictionary.
No. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm trying to tell a story. I'm a storyteller.
Simple storytelling techniques.
I'm a storyteller.
I'm funny.
Well, my children call me that clown of a man. They talk to me, everything serious. I'll turn it to jest. That's why in our house you don't see people angry.
When you survived the trip to Itaoko, that island.
Yes.
How you described it.
That was a horrible night. What you are saying like this, our boat almost capsized.
The way you described it in the book, I did not pity you. I was just laughing.
There is no water in the kitchen. See yourself on the Atlantic in the boat. And water was coming into the... That
was adventure.
Yeah, adventure.
It fits the title. Because I was not looking at the stories. Yeah. I said, these are adventures.
Adventures.
The adventures of a guerrilla journalist. Babafemi Ojudu, thank you for featuring on State Affairs.
It's my pleasure. I also must thank you for what you are doing. You are showing good examples to young journalists. I met you many years ago. I've been since then sucked into your work. Nothing you bring out that I do not patiently watch. I wait till night when I'm alone and I will look at it and also get to learn a few tricks about interviewing. You see the way you have brought me out to even say things I wouldn't have said ordinarily now. It's a technique. It's a trick. So I just pray that some lazy journalists will not bring out some things off background and shout it out tomorrow or day after. It's okay. I don't care about that.
Thank you.
I granted an interview to some journalists in Ekiti, and I said, I narrated how I had to drink my urine to survive diarrhea. They wrote that I drank my urine to survive gonorrhea. Journalists. Oh, my colleagues.
It's about interpretation.
My colleagues.
You call it diarrhea.
And
they call it gonorrhea. There is rhea in it.
There is rhea. Okay, we accept the rhea.
Yeah. Let's leave the gono. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure. God bless you.
Thank you.
And thanks to everybody, the crew and everybody. Thanks,
Thank you. Before we go, because of your love for Fela,
yes,
So we decided to say we are going to give you
a gift,
a book on Fela
by who?
Afrobeat Fela.
That's my friend. That's Shola Oloriyomi, my colleague's younger brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is Dapo's brother?
Yes, his younger brother.
I see.
He's in UI here. Yeah. He lectures at UI.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, crazy guy too. I'm brilliant, very sharp guy, Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll read this.
Thank you.